if the one person you trusted the most, the person you thought would never leave your side, abandoned you when you needed them the most? I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. But instead of holding my hand, supporting me through the hardest, most painful moment, my husband was nowhere to be found. I was alone, in labor, feeling abandoned by the one person who promised to never leave me. You're probably wondering, how did I handle it? Well, the answer is simple. I didn't just let it go. I made sure he paid. But here's the thing. You won't believe what happened next. The pain was unbearable. I could feel every contraction hit me like a wave crashing against the shore. But it wasn't just the physical pain that was overwhelming. It was the emotional agony of being completely alone. I kept telling myself it was just a mistake. He would come back, right? But the minutes turned into hours, and he never did. He didn't show up, not once. No phone call, no text, nothing. It felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest, and I could barely breathe through it. I remember looking around the room, surrounded by strangers in their scrubs, trying to comfort me, but all I could feel was this deafening emptiness, this loneliness that grew deeper with every passing minute. How could he do this to me? I thought about all the promises we'd made, the life we had built together, the vows we exchanged, and the dreams we shared. How could he leave me, the woman he claimed to love, when I needed him the most? And then it hit me. He didn't just abandon me. He betrayed me. He broke something that could never be repaired. The more I thought about it, the more furious I became. The man I trusted, the father of my child, wasn't here. He wasn't the man I thought he was. He was selfish. And I realized something in that moment. I didn't need him. I never needed him. The doctors and nurses were focused on their work, but I couldn't focus on anything other than the hurt that had consumed me. I had never felt so small, so vulnerable. But at the same time, I realized that what I had in that room wasn't just my pain. It was power. Power I hadn't realized I had. I couldn't let him get away with this. I couldn't let him think that what he had done didn't matter, that he could just disappear, leaving me to pick up the pieces. But I wasn't going to confront him head on. Not yet. No, I had to plan this carefully. I needed to make sure he felt every ounce of the betrayal, just like I had. And I had a plan that would make him regret everything. The first step? I needed to make sure he knew how badly he messed up. I needed him to know that the damage he caused wasn't something that could just be brushed under the rug. I was angry, furious, to be honest. But I wasn't just angry at him. I was angry at myself, forever thinking he could be the man I needed him to be, forever believing that he would stand by me when it mattered most. But that anger, it wasn't going to consume me. No, it was going to fuel me. It was going to be the fire that burned down everything he thought he knew about me. The first thing I did was simple. I called him, and I left a voicemail. You think you can just leave me here? You think you can abandon me and our baby? You've got another thing coming. I'm not going to let you walk away without facing the consequences of what you did. The message wasn't long, but it was clear. He needed to understand that I was done being the victim. I wasn't going to sit around waiting for an apology, begging for his attention. I wasn't that person anymore. But that was just the beginning. I knew he would try to apologize, try to make things right, but I wasn't going to make it easy for him. No, I was going to make him pay for what he did, not just with words, but with actions. I started small, setting little traps, letting him think everything was okay. I didn't need to confront him directly. That would have been too easy. Instead, I let him stew, let him think he had time to fix things. And all the while, I was quietly building my plan. I wasn't just taking back control of the situation. I was going to take back my life. The next few days were a blur, but I never let my guard down. I focused on one thing, making him feel what I felt. And in doing so, I started to realize something. I didn't need him to feel whole. By the time he called me, trying to apologize, I had already made up my mind. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And this time, it was going to be my turn to walk away. I waited. The call came 3 days later, his voice shaky and full of guilt. Zoe, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave you like that. I didn't know how to handle it. His words were soft, but they had no power over me anymore. I had heard it all before. The apologies, the promises, the excuses. I wasn't listening to them anymore, but I played it cool. I needed him to think I was still weak, still the person he had left behind. I wanted him to believe I was waiting for him to come back and fix everything. That's what he thought would happen. He thought he could just waltz back into my life, say sorry, and make everything okay again. I let him talk. I didn't interrupt, but as he rambled on, I was already 5 steps ahead. I already knew how this would end. He would beg for forgiveness, but I wouldn't give it to him. Not until he truly understood what he had done. Not until he felt the weight of his betrayal. I just want to make things right, Zoe, he said, his voice cracking. I'll do anything. Just tell me what to do. Please, I'll fix it. Fix it? The words echoed in my mind, and something inside me snapped. He thought he could fix it? He thought everything could just go back to normal? I was done playing that game. You don't get to fix this, I said, my voice calm, almost too calm. You don't get to come back into my life just because you're sorry. You left me when I needed you most. You betrayed me, and now it's too late. This is my turn to take control. The silence on the other end was thick, but I wasn't finished. I wasn't about to give him any room to weasel his way out of this. You think I've just been sitting here, waiting for you to come back and make everything right? You think I'm that weak? I could hear the panic in his voice, but it didn't matter anymore. I had to make sure he understood what he had done. You broke me. You broke this family. But I'm not broken anymore. And when you see what happens next, you'll wish you had been there for me. You'll wish you never left me. I could almost hear his breath catch. He had no idea what was coming. No clue that this was the moment he would realize I was done being the victim. I was done being the one left behind. I had turned my pain into power. And now I was going to make sure he felt the full force of that power. But I still wasn't ready to let him know everything. I still had one final move to make, something that would show him how much damage he had caused and how much it would cost him to ever think he could just waltz back in. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of a quick fix. He was going to pay for this, for making me feel like I wasn't worth his time. I'll see you soon, I said, my voice steady, calm. But when you do, know this, it won't be the same. You won't get to